You are.
Yeah, no, I forgot to press the second button. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, and can everybody hear me? This is Simon.
Yes.
Okay, so just going quickly through the milestone schedule, the last two milestones. The last milestone we had was the 90% submission, which went to the MSBA. That went without a hitch. We have the comments back from them, which we have responded to. The comments were not very detailed. They had a few general comments, and we responded to those. Our next milestone, which is actually today, is the 100% construction documents, which I understand are all done. And minutes after this meeting completes, they'll be submitted to the contractor for pricing to get the final GMP. So if we can go to the next page. Likewise, on this page, I'm not going to go through everything, but the targets that we have on this to prepare the GMP 2 were all met for the elevator, the site, and the steel. Those are all out. We have those bid, and they all came in within budget. And we're, as you can probably see, as you drive by the site, the construction work is proceeding at pace. I think by the end of today, the auditorium was down, so construction is proceeding well on the site. And we continue to have the weekly meetings with the OAC. We wanted to just have this meeting to give you an update on where we're at. But in general, the project schedule is being adhered to, and we're doing well. That's it for me. Well, project design timeline, I think this arrow is slightly out of kilter. Should be further to the right, but we have started the construction, and we're right on schedule.
And so today, as Simon mentioned, kind of marks a big milestone for all of us. The end of construction documents. Construction, as Simon mentioned, has begun, but putting the bid documents out on the street to get hard numbers and see how we're doing on the budget and sort of solidify bids is a big deal and kind of an exciting day for us. So these are images you've seen before. This is the design of the project. A lot of design images. On the upper left, you see the entry court into the building. We think this is a really dynamic and vibrant, welcoming entry into the new building, and it's an important moment as you approach the building in that we think it really represents the commitment and the commitment to the community that this project shows from the town and from the school. The image on the right is the cafeteria. This is the town square. And what you see in this are the lab volumes and the materials that we've talked so much about. And these represent a real sort of exciting architectural element, but the real excitement is that they are meaningful. They represent what's innovative and exciting in the educational program for the school. So they're actually meaningful in themselves. The lower right is the auditorium, and beyond what we think this is a beautiful auditorium, it also really does represent that commitment to the community and the community as a whole, not just the school. This is funded outside of the MSBA funding. And then the image on the lower left, the renovated gymnasium, represents the project's commitment to sort of exploring cost-effective solutions to the design issues. Now, again, today is 100% construction documents. Construction documents, our construction document set that's going out tonight consists of 716 42 by 30 inch sheets, so big sheets of drawings, and these construction documents represent all all trades, architectural, engineering, and they vary from sort of big picture information like this, where you're seeing elevations, portions of elevations of the entire building, with construction information on them, to much more detailed information that has to do with how you put how the contractor puts the building together, showing how materials are supported, waterproofed, finished. This being an important milestone, I think it's a good time to sort of recognize all the people who are involved in putting a document like this together. There's obviously and in putting a project like this together, there's obviously you guys, the school building committee, and without you, there'd be no project. What I think of as well, we all think of as sort of the other three legs of the stool, and your partners in the team or the design team. That's us, HMFH Architects, Hill International, and your owner's project manager, and Bond Building, your construction manager. This group hears a lot from Simon and Inger, who are here from Hill International, but there's also Paul Callis, who comes to some of these meetings, and Patrick Linden and Alex Crowley from Hill International, who are integral to the team. From Bond Brothers, we've heard a lot from Brendan O'Malley. Dave Capaldo comes to a number of these, but also there's a large team. There's Paul Hennigan, who's your project super, and he's come to some of these meetings. Greg Williamson, Justin Albacon, sorry, Steve McKean, Matt Hines, Mike West, Frank Stapleton, Kristen Carroll, Kyle Cataldo, who started on the project this week, and Joe Othier from Bond. And then from our office at HMFH, there's obviously Matt and me, but there's a whole team of people that are working with us that have been doing great work. Alicia Carruthers is our project architect. Sarah Rosenthal, Devin Canton, Ed DeBlick, Inwan Choi, and Mike Saginaw are our sort of sub-project architects on parts of the building. Madeline Hales, our interior designer, and she's been into some of these. Jamie McGavin, Rosemary Parks, Nick Ambrosio, Connor Heinzman, Hazel Ryerson, and Soha Mohammed El-Talher, excuse me, are all part of the HMFH team who have been putting this document together. You've also met a number of times Uma Sankar from IBI Placemaking, our landscape architect. Most of these other firms you have not met, but there's Sammy Otis, our civil engineer, Foley Buell Roberts, our structural engineer, ACAL, who's our fire protection, Garcia Galeska D'Souza consulting engineers. I have trouble saying that because I know them as GGD, who's MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers. Crabtree McGrath for food service. I'm going to go faster. McPhail Associates for geotech. UEC for hazardous materials. Kalen for specifications. PM&C, who's our cost estimator. Theater projects, theater consultants. Davinaw Tachi, audiovisual consultants. Pointline Space, furniture, casework, and equipment. And Thornton Tomasetti, who have helped us with a number of daylighting sustainability consulting studies related primarily to the sunscreens. So there's a big team, and this is just a part of the people of the people who've sort of touched this, but it starts to get to the idea that it takes a lot of people to put one of these together. There's also obviously the community and the whole community that helped the project get past the vote, which was, of course, a critical step. So that has to do with sort of the milestone and the 100% documents and where we are today. But what we're really here for is a vote. and that has to do with the alternates that will go out with this document. I want to make sure that it's pretty clear that this note at the bottom is really important. The last cost estimate assumed that the first three of these alternates, which are deducts, were all taken. So the assumption is that we will need to take all three of these first deducts. So in the bidding documents, we really only have to list ones that affect the filed subbids, trade bids, which are mandated by public bidding laws, and that has to do with that is masonry. It's a big list, but it's masonry, it's roofing, which is why this roofing one's here. But there's a lot of trades that don't fall into that, and we don't need to list them in the documents, and I'll explain that. So this first bidding alternate number 1, deduct required by trade bids, is listed in the documents. And we've talked about this in this meeting a few times. It's replacing the 80 mil 30-year warranty roof, so a thicker membrane, with a thinner membrane, with a 20-year warranty, which really is sort of industry standard. The 20 mil membrane is certainly not uncommon at all. The upgrade, if we can afford it, I think has value. But I don't want anybody to think that if we do need to take the deduct, which, again, the assumption is we will, that we're getting anything sort of substandard. That's the only alternate that is actually written into the documents. And that is the one that you'll need to vote on to approve keeping as an alternate today. The rest of these alternates are what we're calling negotiated alternates. Because Bond is a construction manager, for non-trade bid trades, they can negotiate the bids. And so we'll be able to sit down with the bidders. We'll be able to bring options to the table and have them price specific alternates. So that's what these are. You're not voting on, you don't need to vote on these. When the time comes to negotiate these, we'll be reporting back on them. First one is to reduce the glazing spec from a higher performing, what's called heat mirror, but it's a kind of triple glazed glass, to a still high performance double glazed glass at the curtain wall areas. And that's all curtain wall areas except for those within teaching spaces, so the band room, the art classrooms. But it covers curtain wall within the cafeteria, and a lot of it is sort of circulation space, corridors and areas like that. It's also the curtain wall at the neighborhood collaborative areas at the end of each of the academic wings. The next one has to do with granite selection. During the last, again, the assumption is that we would be taking these. At the last VE exercise, Bond brought to our attention that our specified granite was somewhat expensive, and that they thought that with the input from bidders, we could do better, and still get the aesthetic we were looking for. We were originally looking for something that fairly well matched the Weymouth granite. Weymouth granite doesn't make the kinds of pieces we'll need, but is it Milford granite, Matt?
Yeah, Milford Pink is the name of it.
And it fairly well matches the Weymouth granite. So they'll be helping us in determining what are some alternatives that still get the aesthetic we're looking for, but at a reduced price point. Another negotiated alternative is to remove a small area of wood slats at the back of the auditorium upper balcony. this was carried in the estimate, and it's not a large area. I don't know that it's going to yield a lot of money, but it's in there for the purposes of, if we need to find money, this is a place we can find it. And then there's been some conversation in these meetings related to adding materials, and also in a variety of meetings, in these meetings, but also in other meetings with Bond, of adding planting material back in. A number of, well, I think the 60% VE exercise cut the planting material costs by 15%, if I remember correctly. And since then, there's been discussion of carrying an alternate to add material back in if at the last responsible moment we find that there is money left. Certainly, we may choose not to take some of these deducts before we would add planting back in. But if at the end of this we have money to spend still within the budget, having a more robust planting program may be desirable. That takes us through the alternates. Dave, I know we had talked about you talking some about this idea of the first three alternates in the estimate. Do you have anything to add?
So I actually don't think Dave was able to attend, so
okay.
I can step in for him. But as President Miller respond. So just to kind of reiterate what James said, we just wanted to kind of highlight that although these are deducts, they're not currently accounted for in our most recent estimate. So it really want to think of these as we're not really removing it from the project. They weren't in the last round. So if we don't have to take these, great. But we should probably just get in the mindset that may be likely.
The expectation is to have to take them, but there is hope in pricing.
Absolutely, yes.
Does anybody have any questions before we move to the next slide's the vote? So
yeah, if any member has a question, just unmute and go ahead.
Ted?
Go ahead, Sean.
Thank you. James, what are we talking about for the deduct? An estimate on the money?
Oh, that's right. Okay, so for the first one, for the bidding alternate, there's a lot of the reason I didn't put a number here actually is the numbers are a little bit all over the place. Sean, I'm sorry, can you mute again? I'm getting some feedback. Our estimator had about $500,000 for that alternate. Bond had about 250, and Hill, talking to a roofer very recently, thought that it would be yet half that. So the best I can give you is that we think that the bidding atmosphere is favorable, and hopefully it's towards the lower end of those numbers.
So that's just for the roof. You're
for the glazing. It was 120 if I remember accurately. The granite was about 65. They did show us a granite that well exceeded that, but the aesthetic wasn't there, not at all. So there's a lot of range in where we may end up on the granite. I don't think we'll have any trouble meeting the goal. We don't have a direct comparison for the wood slat number, but I don't think it's a lot. And the additional planning is a variable.
So I guess my question would be, and this is surely from just my opinion, is I'd like to see that would keep the longer, 30-year roof. Not worry about plantings at all, because I just foresee plantings being in a year or two just overrun and not taken care of. And also the glazed window, the triple pane to the triple glazed is double glazed. I don't have a problem with it as long as we're keeping the triple glazed in the classroom windows, which you're saying you are.
Yes.
So as one member, I can't support adding planting materials And certainly I'd like to see that roof stay as a 30-year. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Kathy?
Yes. I had thought that we were gonna put in the 80 mil. I originally thought we voted for the 80 mil over the 60 mil roof at one of the earlier meetings. I thought we had voted for that.
No, the vote that occurred previously was to go to the 60 mil. It was a VE, it was an accepted VE. And it's the 60 and it's the 60 mil that's really in the project. We're bidding it. I didn't mention this. We're bidding it in this way as deducts for two reasons. One is we think we'll get better numbers. We think we'll get more favorable numbers.
As opposed to the other way around, where it would be an add to go to the upgrade. And so this, in the base
Yes.
project, you have the upgrade, but to take the alternate, you would be going to the lower option and taking the savings.
So sorry. So the
So the bids we get will be a 30-year warranty.
the base bids you will get will be a 30-year warranty and a thicker membrane.
Oh.
Again, we do expect to have to take the deduct, but and that is what was voted on, was accepting the VE. But the reason we organize it this way as a deduct, as opposed to putting the 60 mil membrane and the 20-year warranty into the base project as an add, and then doing the 80 and 30 as an add, is because we thought we would get better numbers, better bidding numbers, more favorable to us, and also if we're able to keep the 80 mil. We think that the MSBA is more likely to reimburse for it, whereas if it was an add, we think they would not count it, deduct it from their grant.
Oh, thank you, James, for that. I've spoken about the roof before. Weymouth has a history of having problems with roofs. You know how I feel about the better warranty. But now the back canopy for the coming in the back canopy, that's in the bid, right? For the back canopy.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
That's in, and it's not an alternate, and it's the steel for it and foundations for it are bought.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just unmute yourself and ask away.
If we take alternates beyond alternate 1, which is a deduct, doesn't that lock us into forcing our hand into taking it, or how does that work?
Because is that Nate?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Nate. Hi,
Yes,
Nate.
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll just look at your square with your initials on it. Because we're only listing one alternate, that's the only one we have to take in order. The negotiated alternates don't come into play in that complicated math. So we've kind of avoided that whole problem by only having one alternate.
Additionally, the first alternate, the deduct for the roof, is the only one that we have to take immediately. We have to make a decision upon immediately. The other ones, the decision point of those is some time further out, and Bond Brothers could advise us what the drop dead point for each of those would be, but that's a later step.
And the question for our vote right now is to proceed with this approach of base bid 80, deduct alternate to go down to the 60 mil. That's what we're voting on, right?
It's really, yes. It's really a vote to approve the alternate list, whatever the alternate list was. There would be a vote to.
You want to go to the next page just so they can see the motion.
Approve it?
so they know what they're voting on. Thanks.
And in light of that, I support this because it gives us the most flexibility and decision-making power once we see real numbers. You know, the base bid will have the robust roof, but should we run into a problem with budgets, we have the power to make that decision at that time then. But I still do agree, if possible, we should proceed with the base bid if the numbers allow it and get the stronger, more reliable, more durable roof.
Thanks. Anyone else?
So does this is Tom Eldridge talking? Are the other alternate bids on the prior slide, are those in essence sort of the negotiated alternates sort of in competing against this the roof bidding alternate?
There'll be, once numbers come in, there'll be some, once numbers come in, if we need to reduce cost, there will be some competition between them. Although I think it's clear both from the committee and we agree that if we can keep alternate one by taking the three alternates, the three deducts listed first in the negotiated alternates, that's probably what we would do. It's your decision to make, but that would be what we would recommend. The granite selection deduct is almost a given. We just need more information from Bond and the bidders, but that's kind of baked into the cake. We expect and want to take that. We think it's good value. The glass, we gain some small amount of efficiency, energy efficiency with the triple glazed, and we think there's some increase in comfort. We think it has value if it can be afforded, but again, I don't think, based on what the committee's saying and also our own sort of opinions, we wouldn't recommend that unless we'd already determined that we can also keep the 30 mil, the 80 mil 30-year roof. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
It does. It makes me understand that I really, as much as I want the 80 mil, I think Nate's right in that it gives us the most flexibility. But in terms of prioritizing these things, yeah, I would much rather see us stick with the thicker roofing than worry about planting. If that makes sense.
It does.
Anyone else? Don't hear anything. If we could just move to the next one, if I could get a motion. Sean, you want to take that?
I would love to. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the Weymouth School Building Committee approve to include alternate number one, a deduct alternate to provide 60 mil roofing membrane and a 20-year warranty in lieu of an 80 mil membrane and 30-year warranty and the 100% construction documents to be issued to the bidders for the new Maria Weston Chapman Middle School project.
I second it.
Thank you. Now, when I call, I'm just going to call the members. When I call your name, just unmute, vote, and then if you could mute yourself back, that'd be helpful. Superintendent?
Yes.
Tom Eldridge?
Yes.
Sean Guilfoyle?
Yes.
Frank Burke?
Yes.
Kathy Curran?
Yes.
Brian Smith?
Yes.
John McLeod?
Yes.
Mel Curtin,
Yes.
Lisa Belmarsh,
Yes.
Matt Meehan,
Yes.
Donna Shea,
No.
Nate,
Yes.
did I miss anyone? And the chair votes yes. Do you guys have anything else?
We do. Well, we don't, but moving forward, sorry, I'm going to shut my door. Excuse me. Moving forward, these meetings will be more construction updates than design. I forgot about this slide. Excuse me. Sorry. So these meetings will be more construction updates than design presentations. There are some design presentations that we will still be coming back to you with. There's an updated color and materials presentation, and that's with once actual materials are submitted, we'll be able to, and therefore the color palettes for those manufacturers are known. We'll come back with another color and materials presentation with the actual pieces. September and around September 2021, there'll be a signage presentation, and these are very approximate dates. We'll be sort of developing them as we go. And then around November 2021, there'll be two presentations, one for furniture selection and materials, and one for technology selection. And there'll be a process to getting to that selection, but we'll be bringing it back to this group in November.
Sorry, could someone just, now that we did the alternates and we're talking about bidding, just give us a schedule of that in the next month or so?
Brendan, you want to take that, or do you want me to take it?
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So once, so we'll be receiving the 100% CDs this evening or first thing tomorrow, I'm assuming. So we'll be distributing that to the non-file sub bidders within the next couple of days. And I believe we're asking, depending on the trade, more or less, we're asking for their bids to be due in mid-September. Which is about the same time that we're asking for the file sub-bidders. And I believe on the advertisement that Hill posted, I believe they said they'd be available for download either this coming Friday or Monday.
Monday the 17th.
Monday the 17th, okay. And they believe they would do September 15th, I believe. So we'd be opening those bids shortly after. I'm not sure if that date has been nailed down 100%. And at that point, the file sub bidders will essentially be awarded within a few days after those are opened. And then for the negotiated subcontractors, we would be kind of starting the process around the same time. It will be a little bit of a slower process, and we'll be kind of prioritizing the longer lead subcontractors and the ones that their scopes of work are more eminent. So by towards the end of September, we're going to be submitting a number of requests to awards for various trades, and that should continue into probably mid-November by the time everybody signed up. And I believe as far as the final GMP, I believe we said the first draft was going to be submitted. I think it was about 2 weeks after the file sub bids are opened. So we're probably talking on or around October 1st. We'll be submitting our first draft final GMP for review.
Thank you. Anything else, James?
Well, in the spirit of these meetings going to construction updates, we're going to close with a construction update from Brendan.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, James. So just a procurement update. So from I think last time we met, we have awarded the site work and utility scope to Ernest Quigley and Sons. We had previously contracted them with for a site enabling package that was essentially topsoil disposal and kind of just getting us set up here. They were the low successful bidder for the main project, so they've been brought on board, and they've started some of the site work, demolition activities and foundation prep activities. We've awarded the cast in place concrete to Marguerite Concrete Incorporated, and the structural steel scope to Norgate Metal, is a fabricator out of Quebec. And then the elevators, we're expecting to be awarding it this week. We're just working out some contractual language between our office and theirs. So we should see a formal request to award within the next couple of days, but we have de-scoped the low bidder. Choice is clear. We're just cleaning up some paperwork. So hopefully we'll have them on board by the end of the week. And then as I just went through, the remaining trades will be bought over the course of probably September to November. Buying out. So next slide, please. And for the work currently underway, as kind of Simon alluded to earlier, I think I took this picture. It was either Thursday or Friday, and as of I walked the site about an hour ago, and the auditorium that's shown there is no longer standing. So things are really changing on a daily basis out here. But right now, the Vogue Wing demo and loadout is complete. The demolition is underway of the first story structure, which is nearly complete at this point. So the auditorium is gone, kind of the administration offices, and kind of approaching the cafeteria is pretty much all gone at this point. Costello is actively hauling out demo debris, seeing a number of trucks coming in and out every day. And abatement is nearing completion on the two-story portion of the school, which was kind of behind the gym on kind of the southwestern portion of the building. Utility line removal is nearly complete. Quigley has completed most of that work on the northern portion of the site. And they've also worked kind of on the Chard Street parking lot area. And they're also working in the Chard Street parking lot area, prepping for grade, as well as preparing the building foundation in Wing A, which is kind of the northern portion of the site near Fisk. Next slide. And then kind of just for a 30-day look ahead, again, I took this picture end of last week, and that building's no longer there. So over the next month, we'll be completing the abatement, the move into the structural demolition of the two-story portion of the school. I believe we're actually going to go, Costello is likely to start demolition of the cafeteria tomorrow. We'll be working on ledge removal. We have encountered some ledge in the northern portion of the site, kind of near where the Vogue Wing was, as well as the kind of the Chard Street parking area. We'll continue to prep that portion, the Chard Street parking area. Utility installation will begin. We've got most of our utility submittals approved at this point, and we'll start seeing precast structures. The prep area, the prepping of the Area A foundation is actually already underway. And Marguerite the foundation crew will be mobilizing in about 2 weeks with the hopes of starting some foundation work first week of September. And the steel shop drawing development is underway. We should be seeing, we've already seen some steel shop drawings, we've seen anchor bolts, and we've seen acoustical decking come through this morning. So we'll start seeing the actual steel erection pieces coming in the coming weeks.
So that pretty much closes us out. But before, we did have a flyover done on, I think this was done on the 1st.
Yep.
And I just need to be able to find it. It's on one of my screens. Here we go. Sorry, I'm almost there. And as you close, you can see this was less than 2 weeks ago. As Brendan said, the auditorium is gone, but you can see, get a real look at all the work that's being done right now, or less than 2 weeks ago. This goes on for a while, so if you guys want to close while this plays, that's cool.
Anyone have any questions before we adjourn?
Ted, I just have a couple comments,
Yeah, go
question.
ahead.
Thank
Yep.
you. I've gotten a couple of texts for any chance we could put a pile of bricks where people may be able to come on site on Chad Street, or a safe way to grab a souvenir brick. That was one. And as we move forward, you know, I'm concerned about that commercial street embankment, whether it's the landscapers or the contractors, if we see how that's playing out, what we're gonna do with that embankment there, that steep embankment on Commercial Street. Other than that, it looks great. It's sad and good all at the same time.
I will say that me and John McLeod did have a discussion. We have a brick area in mind to perhaps save some bricks for folks.
That
So
would be good.
we are discussing it.
All right.
The mastic between the brick and the backup wall is hazardous, so there may be some figuring out, some
Well, if there's any
complications for that.
clean bricks, clean fill.
Yeah. Non-hazardous bricks, yes.
Yeah, non-hazardous bricks.
Any other comment? Is that it, Kathy?
That's it for me. Thanks.
Any other comments and questions from members? Any comments or questions? Go ahead. Who's that?
Motion to adjourn?
I'm just going to ask the public if there's any public
Oh, my apologies.
members. Nope. Any audience, public members that have any questions or comments? Just unmute yourself and identify yourself. Okay, looks like a good John.
Mr. Chairman, I make motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Same as I call your name, just unmute, vote, and please mute yourself. Superintendent? Tom Eldridge?
Aye.
John Guilfoyle?
Aye.
Frank Burke?
Aye.
Kathy Curran?
Yes.
Brian Smith?
Yes.
John McLeod?
Yes.
Al Curtin?
Yes.
Lisa Belmarsh?
Yes.
Matt Meehan?
Yes.
Donna Shea?
Yes.
Nate Booten? And the chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.